All right, we've got your LA Kings preview coming up as the UHC continues its homestand. Robyn and I kick it off right now on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
You are Locked On Utah Hockey Club, your daily podcast on the Utah Hockey Club, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you. I'm a veteran NHL voice, having covered the league and its teams for, well, more years than I care to think about some days. And Robyn has been reporting on this franchise since those halcyon days back in the state of Arizona. But together, we are the dynamic duo that loves talking about the Utah Hockey Club. And we do so each and every weekday here. Thanks for making us your first listen each and every single day. Robyn, LA Kings coming to town here. This is another one of those where are we now tests on the ice for the Utah Hockey Club. LA is going to be in the playoffs. They aren't going to catch Vegas. Obviously, Vegas is too far out in front. They're battling with Edmonton to figure out who's going to be second, who's going to be third. But the Kings, I think, come in as a team that's got some pressure on them to show up this year. And if they do indeed end up with a first-round playoff date with the Oilers, whether they have home ice or not, number one, is going to be a big consideration. But number two, everybody's going to be looking at this team. Can they get over the hump?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the biggest thing that I was looking at it and taking a look at. Really, is it's seeing at how big of a game it is for both of these teams, and to me, it's like, oh yeah, for Utah, they don't at this point, and I think there's like for them, they're really mainly playing for pride, but for the Kings, they're playing for home ice advantage. They want, because it very much appears like it very well will be a Kings versus Oilers matchup in the first round, barring anything crazy towards the end of the season. But it is going to be a matter of who's going to be the number two, who's going to be the number three, who's going to get four possible home games versus only three possible home games in the first round series. And if I'm the LA Kings, no matter who I'm playing, I'm putting my best foot forward to make sure I secure that.
Absolutely. And for LA down the stretch, just like everybody else, I mean, the schedule, it matters, but taking care of business when you can is what matters most. And so I think we talked about this earlier in the week, but maybe for Utah, it's not only just playing for the pride, playing for the mathematical possibility of making the playoffs, but it is a bit of spoiler role and maybe knocking the Kings out of their home ice advantage. I mean, look, and hey, it's nice to beat LA at anything, right? So, there is a lot to play for here for Utah coming into this. And but for LA, boy, this is, it's rare that we're going to talk so much about the opponent in this matchup. But I mean, for LA, this game means so much to these guys because let's face it, home ice and being able to line match in a game 7 against Edmonton and put the unit out that you want against a Connor McDavid is huge.
Oh, absolutely. It's taking a look at where they're at and what they, and we talked about home ice advantage earlier this season not meaning as much. In the regular season, sure. But in the playoffs, it's a whole different story. The home ice advantage means everything in the postseason because that's when you hear the loudest fans you'll ever hear. Tom, I've had the opportunity to go to a playoff game or two in the NHL, and I'm in the nosebleeds, and even in the nosebleeds in the far back, it's loud as hell. And I'm pretty sure you can say that probably as a play-by-play announcer. But I haven't been down towards the bottom but from what I hear, stories from players, stories from fans who get down there, towards the lower end, it gets louder and louder the further down you go. Because at that point, all the noise is on top of you. And it just creates chaos. It just creates an extremely hostile environment for the opposing team.
And really, two teams here that are a little vulnerable if you're talking about Edmonton and LA. And certainly for the Kings, they have dealt with some injuries. They have some aging components to their team. Let's not hide the elephant in the room, right? I mean, Drew Doughty is no spring chicken. Neither is Andre Kopitar. Like, these guys are a little bit older. They've shed a couple of their other older players from their cup winning years. But Robyn, here's the thing. When the LA Kings won 2 cups, that's 10 years ago now, actually more. You know, I don't know if everybody realizes that,
but
it's been a while, you know, and for the fact that, you know, Kopitar and Doughty are still there, and Jonathan Quick's still playing, although not with the Kings, which is also crazy to me. He's almost 40 years old. I didn't think the way he played, he'd make 30. But I mean, they somehow extend that window. They somehow remain competitive. They somehow have just stayed there. They're playing well enough, and they're doing it under the radar.
Yeah.
I feel like,
which is interesting, because this team had like a couple of periods. I think after like 2017, 2018, this team had a low, right? They were kind of like they were I wouldn't even say a rebuilding team. They were a retooling team. They can still hold on to a lot of that, you know, a lot of those old, you know, of the older players still. But this is a team that went on and was able to bring in a really young, really young player in Quinton Byfield, and got a number of other, you know, really young players, as well as bringing in Alex Turcotte and those players. And it's like, all right, these guys are going to be the future of the LA Kings. And yeah, they really were able to at least stay relevant for a while. So, and I think that's what makes this matchup really intriguing to me, Tom. And it's going to see a couple of different things. What kind of aspect are we going to see from the Kings? Are they going to bring that A game? Are they, no matter what, are they going to still? Are they going to fight like it's a playoff game to them? Because very well knowing they want that home ice advantage, and taking a look at that. But for Utah also, Utah hasn't beat the Kings this season. I think last I checked, the Kings have a 2-0 game advantage in this series against them. The last time they played each other in February, shortly coming straight out of the Four Nations break, that was a 5-2 win or something. I believe that was the score for the Kings. So, like, does Utah want to fight back?
Oh, they absolutely do. They absolutely do. And I'm glad you brought up Byfield. I actually remember Byfield when I was with the Roadrunners. It was Byfield, one of Byfield's draft years, and I saw him in his first rookie tournament action. Tucson was part of that, and then we went out to Ontario as part of that whole thing. And I remember all the expectation that was on him. And now we are talking almost 10 years ago, once again. He's taken a long road to developing. But finally this year, Byfield is up to 46 points and is coming around as an NHL player. It's taken him a while, but he's finally getting there. And so you have Kempe and Kopitar, who are your 60-point guys on this LA Kings team. And Kempe's got 31 goals, leading the team in that department. Kevin Fiala is not too far behind. He's got 50 points and 28 goals. But, you know, Byfield is a guy who, along with a player like Warren Foegele, Philip Deneau, like, they're trying to carry the scoring load for this Kings team, that they're not crushing you. And I mean, we talked about the Oilers, like the Oilers, you know, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, these guys that are just blowing your doors off with
lethal.
Right. And it's not that way with LA. It's a lot of by committee. It's a lot of, you know, working together to produce those goals, but they're doing it. And the other thing too, that's a little bit of a surprise, I think we got to talk about Darcy Kuemper. Kuemper's got some history with this organization too. And he, very quietly, again, Kuemper's putting together a pretty darn good season in Los Angeles.
And then it's really interesting because, like, and I'll go out and say it, I feel like Darcy Kuemper can go down, at least in this modern era, as one of the most underrated goalies, because I feel like everyone writes him off because he's like, he bounces around. He just kind of just going from team to team, going from Arizona at the time to Colorado to Washington to LA. What is going on in his career? Is he going to do anything? But he has a Stanley Cup under his belt, and he's and he's still finding ways to win games, but no one talks about him.
Absolutely. And it's very quiet. Again, the Kings are quiet this year. They're sneaky. No one's talking about the Kings. Everybody, and not even really talking about Vegas. So we're not talking about the Pacific much at all. Everybody's talking about the Central.
Yeah, everyone is talking about the Central because the Jets are unbelievably a whole different story, right? We're taking a look at the Connor Hellebuyck story and what he's doing. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, you're right. No one, I think that's what's putting these Pacific Division teams I think it could put them in an advantage going into this final stretch because people aren't paying. I mean, probably some Pacific Division fans and whatever was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Like we already knew this. If you're a Vegas Golden Knights fan or an Edmonton Oilers fan, you're probably thinking, "Oh, you might have a bloated head or whatever it might be." It's like, "Oh yeah, we already knew this." But here in the Central Division, all eyes have been on the Jets.
Well, all the sexy storylines are in the Central, right? The Jets, the year they're having. Chicago, how incredibly bad they are. The Blues, how resurgent they are. The Wild, how are they still afloat? Nashville, what happened in Nashville?
And then the Utah,
Colorado's resurgence, and then Dallas quietly keeping themselves afloat. So, and Utah relocating, and how are they doing? Like the whole division is a storyline.
I know the entire division. I mean, yeah, you could also make arguments. Oh yeah, how is Vegas managing their cap battles because they have been cap strapped for years now. How is what's going on in the McDavid story? Why is Seattle not getting the same level of success that Vegas had in their first few years?
Fun nugget, according to our friends at Puckpedia, the Kings have less cap space than Vegas.
That when you mentioned that to me off the air, Tom, I was astonished. I was like, "There's no way." But I looked at it. Then I looked at the contracts and saying, "Oh, almost $8 million for Fiala, $7 million for Kopitar, $11 million for Drew Doughty," and then I'm like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." I forgot that Doughty was one of those contracts during the late 2010s, early 2020s that were getting these insane deals, Drew Doughty being one of them, and like Erik Karlsson being another, just getting these $11.5 million deals just for defensemen for 8 years. And I'm like, what is going on? Why?
Yeah, that's why there was talk they would have been better for a while if he would have just retired. But obviously he's still playing and they're competing. So we're going to get some locker room talk here, some morning skate talk. We're going to hear from head coach Andre Tourigny and then see if we can get a player to join us. And we'll have that for you here coming up in just a minute. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about this one. So stay tuned. Plenty more coming your way. And today's show brought to you in part by Game Time. There's nothing like watching basketball live. The energy of the crowd, the sound of the sneakers on the hardwood, maybe even a celebrity sighting courtside, if that's your thing. If you want to catch a game in person, Game Time makes getting tickets even easier. Game Time's new feature, Game Time Picks, filters out the fluff, and it shows you only the best deals on the great seats, so you don't have to waste time scrolling through thousands of tickets. I just checked the Game Time app just to see what was out there. There's some amazing deals on some matchups coming up. Maybe you're a Jazz fan. Maybe you want to catch some of the big-time matchups coming to town here. And I'll tell you what, I know it's not the best ending for the Jazz, but, I mean, there's still some fantastic seats, great games. Have you ever been to an NBA game and sat courtside? Mind-blowing. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. It even highlights the super deals for you on the Game Time app because it gives you the best bang for your buck. And you can preview the seats before you buy, toggle on that all-in pricing so there's no surprise fees, and a low price guarantee you can book with confidence. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Tom Callahan, Robyn Leaño here with you on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. Thank you for being here with us. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. And on YouTube, give us the thumbs up. Helps us with the algorithm. Also helps you find more great hockey content as well. Let's go ahead and check in down in the UHC locker room. Here is head coach Andre Tourigny.
Pretty much same lineup except Maddie's in. Maddie should be good to go. So Simmer is going out. Other than that, Veggie again. I think we played really solid game against LA since the start of the season. Every game we've been good game, but we could not push the cart across the finish line. So tonight, I think we're a different team now. We're a better team than last time we played them. So hopefully we'll want to show that.
When your team is finding its offense, scoring 3, 4, 5 goals, what are some of the little details that they're executing on, allowing them to convert on all those opportunities they have?
There's two things. It's creating and converting, like you said. I think we create a ton against Calgary. We could have put the game away early. So that's two different things. I think I like the fact we're creating a lot of traffic at the net. We're generating right now in different ways. We generate more speed through the neutral zone, so we can attack off the rush. We have more drive than that. We have more inside presence. We get more tip goal rebounds, that kind of stuff. I think our D get more involved in the offensive zone. We get a lot of puck throughs and rebound, and we still have our skill game where we can make plays and find the pocket. So I like the way our offense played in the last, let's say, 2 months or so.
What's the process of finding an e-bug, and how do you choose to utilize him, the last month or so?
There's people that's above my pay grade how they found him, but I think he does a really good job since it's with us. He competes and give us an opportunity. I think the big thing is to be able to do the load management we need to, and that is not something in 2 weeks what you will need. It's something it's monitored by our high performance group and all the tests they do. And there's a mental part, there's a physical part. So there's a lot of people involved in that load management thing. But having that resource, that person who can keep our quality practice and keep the load management of our goalie at the right spot.
With one of the very few NHL players from Utah here tonight, I'm curious, where have you seen the game grow just in your year here now, I guess?
Well, I think I cannot talk really for the growth of the game, but I will say the growth of the passion, the growth of the knowledge, the growth of the excitement. I think the people were really happy to have an NHL team when we arrived, and that was stunning, and that was pretty cool. That we were fortunate, but having seen them embrace the game and embrace our team and embrace our player, I think it's been magical. It's been fantastic. We're grateful to be part of that and to see how much the people of Utah has embraced our team.
Kerfoot is playing in his 600th NHL game tonight, 420 straight games. What does it take for a player to stay in a lineup, consistently impact, and have the impact that he's had with this group?
Yeah, there's a lot into that. I think there's the way you take care of your body off the ice, your self-discipline, your discipline in your lifestyle, that kind of stuff as well. There's a little bit of luck. It's just the way it is. You never know what can happen in a hockey game. So that's something, and you need to be a good player as well. Playing 600 game, first of all, you need to be good enough to be in the lineup for 600. So that's right there, it's an achievement. And I think to play that many game in a row as well, you need to be a good player. So that's what Kerfoot is.
Saw Hayton was back on the first power play unit,
Yeah.
Cooley on the second. Just what was the decision to switch that again?
We'll try it. First of all, we had a lot of success with Aids. We want to have a little bit more of a shooting mentality. So Aids he's a good net presence. We know that he likes to go there. So we'll put an incentive to our player to put pucks at the net. The other thing, I think Yami's playing really well, and with Cools, Donor and Banner, we like with Durs. I think it's make two really good units. So we like the balance we'll have, and we can create a little bit of an inside competition.
Going back to Kerfoot, his line right now with Bjugstad and Stenlund's been really firing on all cylinders, offensively and defensively. What has anything changed in your eyes? That's
I think they're assertive. I think they're right now. I think Nick Bjugstad really raised his game. I will say this: Boogie is big. He can skate, can protect the puck, and when he play with that kind of energy and drive, I think he makes his line change his line, whatever the line he's in. So right now with Kerfoot and steady or as consistent as you can find. So with those two guys in Boogie, what he brings right now, that line has experience, size. They can play really well both sides of the puck. And, those are the kind of guy you want veteran. You always talk about end of the season, last stretch, really important game where you fight for your life. You want to rely on veterans, and that's what we do, and they do a really good job right now.
You talked about your team with the way offensively developed a little bit more. Sean Darcy had a little bit of an impact in that?
Huge impact. I think you look at our number offensively since Marino and Darcy are back, it's day and night. Everybody talk about defense. Our number defensively are not better with those guys. They were pretty good before, so we were top 6 or 7. We're still top 6 or 7. But offensively, we went from a little bit below average to right now we're generating a fair amount of chance. Well, we're above the top 10, so we're around 6 or something like that. So that started with the play of our defensemen, Sergei having more legs, making more plays, Johnny for sure, Durs, and having all our guys, Cass as well, is playing really well. Matty and Colsey, Simmer when he went in. We all know Simmer can make plays, and he's a good skater. So your offense starts by the flow you create from your first pass, from your neutral zone counter, and all the momentum you can create when you have that good of a decor. Thanks, everyone.
All right, we're going to see if we can get a player to join us here in just a little bit. Plus, Robyn and I have our predictions coming your way here on the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.
And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on all the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on everything, from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories, and even who's cutting down the nets. I know this year we're hitting into the Final Four, and it's all chalked up to just all 1 seeds. Are you all about are you on the Cooper hype and going to the Duke, or you're going on somebody else? Who knows? Really, let us know. So FanDuel's the best way to do it. Maybe you didn't do a bracket this year because you figured out you'd get easily busted anyway. So, but if you didn't do a bracket but still want to get in all the fun, you can get in on the action on FanDuel because that's the best way to do it. Visit FanDuel.com to get in all the action for college hoops all tournament long.
Back here at the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast. And as we wrap up this Kings preview here, Robyn and I have our thoughts coming your way. Right now, we're going to see if we can get a player guest to join us from down in the Utah Hockey Club locker room.
First and foremost, 100 career NHL points in the last game. Is that a milestone that you kind of put under your cap, especially considering your age in the league? Is that something you take pride in?
Yeah, it's cool. Hopefully a lot more to come, and but yeah, it's obviously first 2 years in the league. It's crazy how fast time goes when you're having fun. But yeah, it's a cool milestone, and hopefully I could put a few more back in the net and a few more apples too.
As far as milestones go, Kerfoot is 600 today. And with that, just in terms of learning the game from a guy like him or anyone else in this room that has those milestones above, 500, what do you learn from a guy like that, especially considering he sits next to you?
Yeah, I think a guy like him, he's been through it all, playoff series. He's been in the league for a while, and I think an important thing is just how he leads by example on and off the ice. Not only with his play, it seems like he's always doing, the right things and managing the game the right way. And even in the locker room when, maybe we're down a goal going into third, just how calm he is and, allows us to, have confidence in here and just to play our game.
Going up against the Kings, this is the first time they've been to Delta Center in the regular season. They're incredibly defensively stingy, strong. When you go up against a team that's one of the best defensive teams in the league, what's the mindset offensively to throw them off their game?
Yeah, it's tough. It seems like they're always in the right position, and for us, I think we need to put it behind them, and I think we need a lot of shots from the point too. Guys in front of the net. Like you said, they don't give you much, on the outside or allow you to have time or space. So It's going to be dirty goals. It's, you're not really going to get a pretty one. It's battling in front of the net, and I think if we keep it simple, we'll get our looks like that.
Last one on Cam, but Vejmelka obviously 19th straight if he starts tonight. As a room, how do you guys support him when he's going out there each and every game and standing in front of the net for you guys?
Yeah, he's awesome. I think even some of those saves he was making last game and other games too, it's incredible. He allows us to have confidence up front, confidence to make plays, and knowing we have him back there, it allows you to play a little more freely. And obviously, we're not in this position to be pushing for a spot if it wasn't for him. But he's a great guy off the ice too, and he's a lot of fun to have in this room.
All right, Robyn. So as we come back here, getting ready for this game against the Kings here tonight, Thursday night. And this is game 2 of a 5-game homestand, 7 o'clock puck drop. Then you've got the Jets on Saturday, 5 o'clock start, by the way. Make sure you make a note of that. And then Seattle next Tuesday at 7, and the Nashville Predators Thursday, a week from today at 7 o'clock to close out. Last home game of the year for that one. So I can't believe we're already saying that.
I know, right? Like, it's absolutely insane that we're at this point. And I'm like,
it's flown by, quite honestly. This season has flown by.
It really has. Like, I feel like it's because, I mean, and I'll say in little teaser as we get ready for later on this week coming up in tomorrow's episode, as we get to a little 1-year retrospective on everything that's happened over the last year. But it just feels like, it's easier to enjoy a season than for it to go back quicker when we're not burdened by arena news, by whatever scandal the owner is going on. And it's just so nice.
It is, isn't it? It's kind of refreshing. Instead of hanging by a thread, holding your breath all the time, knowing you're going to be there next year. Yeah, those are all nice things.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I had the color in my hair a little bit. I felt like
our biggest concern outside of, playoffs, no playoffs and all that fun stuff is, what is this team going to be called? So that's what we have to look forward to. All right, Rob.
Someone asked us.
Oh man,
earlier this week. They're like, "Hey, did we know yet?" And I'm like, "Nope, not yet. We'll find out real soon, though." Like, I feel like the team already knows, but they're not going to say anything.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So let's get to our predictions here for the Kings game. You know what? The Kings have been a little bumped up lately, bruised. Not anything too bad, but Robyn, I feel like the Utah Hockey Club, I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here. This is going to be an emotional game, and I feel like the Kings might be looking past Utah a little bit. I think perhaps Utah comes out with a victory in this one.
Interesting. Okay. And I could certainly see something like that happening. I could certainly see Utah, take the win on this one.
You don't believe me, do you?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Robyn, I've worked with you long enough that I know what you're saying and I know what's coming next. You were setting me up to gently put me down and tell me I was wrong.
I've been called the diplomatic one on a lot of what I do, because I'm like, I soften the blow before I give some bad news.
Yeah, no, I felt that coming a mile away. Absolutely. Yeah.
I just look, like, to me, and as you said, it's Utah. LA could look past Utah, but I really just feel like there is I don't know. There's a little bit of a discrepancy here on, like, I feel like where the a little bit where the talent is. Not that Utah doesn't have the talent, they do, but I just feel like when it comes to having something to play for, as I mentioned earlier, with LA knowing that very well a home ice advantage spot in the playoffs could be on the line here. Like I said, they're going to give it all they got, no matter who they're playing against, whether it's Utah, whether it's Chicago, whether it's even the San Jose Sharks or whatever. LA is putting their best foot forward. I think Utah can give a fight. I just think the LA Kings are going to win this game.
Okay. Well, We shall see. I would really like to see Utah pull what I would consider a minor upset and come out with a victory here in this one. So,
I'd love to see it too, but we'll,
yes.
no.
We'll drop the puck on it and we'll figure it out that way. We'll play 60 minutes and then see who's standing at the end. So, Robyn, if folks want to get in touch with us about the show, where can they do that?
They can find us just about everywhere. You can find your podcast. You can make comments on our YouTube channel, by the way, which I check daily. By the way, I check all those YouTube comments daily. You can find us on social media. We're most of our social is active on the app formerly known as Twitter at LO_NHL Utah. If you really want to, and you're still on that, you go still a little bit more old fashioned, you can also email us at lockedonutahhockey@gmail.com. That is an active email address that I also do check occasionally. But you can also follow me at Robyn_Leaño or in Blue Sky at Robyn Ice Time.
Find me over on Blue Sky at Tom Talks. I'm there 99% of the time. Or you can catch me on Twitter at Callahan on air. So thanks for joining us, everybody, and enjoy the game against the Kings tonight. And we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks for making us your first listen again every single day. And for more, check out the Locked On NHL show for the national perspective on what's going on in and around the league as we creep closer to the playoffs here. So thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. This has been the Locked On Utah Hockey Club podcast.